everyone, it's Alyssa and I'm back with another video. This video is very highly requested and it actually comes along with a couple of exciting announcements. First things first, the first thing you will notice is that I have a new wallet and it is the coveted Kate Spade planner. I will link the retail link down below, but I actually got this from the outlet store in Peoria. No, actually it wasn't in Peoria, I don't think technically, but when I went to Arizona recently, we went to the Tanger outlets and they have a Kate Spade store there, and there was a 70% off sale and then 20% off of that sale price. So I ended up getting this for a really amazing deal. And I just wanted to say that this is definitely not a necessity. I got quite a few hate comments when I switched over to my Filofax, just because it was more than some people were willing to spend for a wallet, or more than people thought I should be spending for a wallet, which just kind of entertains me because I feel like most people wouldn't say to someone's face that they shouldn't be spending a certain amount of money on, you know, a wallet or whatever they want to spend their money on, and I wouldn't imagine doing that to someone either. So if you have some sort of negative emotions about me buying myself this planner for one heck of a deal, then that's okay. But I just want to let you know that if you leave a comment and you don't see your comments after a little while, it's because I deleted it. So all negativity aside, in this video I am going to be teaching you how to make these envelopes that have the hole punches in it that go into this wallet. So this fits perfectly in the Kate Spade planner, and it also fits just fine in my old Filofax, which, if you're wondering what I'm going to be doing with that, I will definitely include it in my 50,000 subscriber giveaway whenever that occurs. And if you're not familiar, once I hit 50,000 subscribers, I will be giving away 5 sets of 5 envelopes each. And I will also be giving away 3 wallets, my Filofax, my old TJ Maxx wallet, and then like a coupon organizer type wallet that I've used all 3 of those for a period of time, and it's worked really great for me. So this is what I'm going to be teaching you how to make in this video. I do like the type that has the envelope here and then a little bit of an extension of the lamination, just because with my other envelopes that are more like this, it's pretty easy to put the money in wrong and kind of have it go at a slant, and then it's blocking one of these holes and it makes it harder to put that back into the planner. So I really do like this style better. I think it's easier to get your money in and out. So that is what I will be teaching you guys how to make. So my next announcement is something that you guys have been waiting for a very long time, and that is the fact that I am going to be making more cash envelopes. So I will be doing one more release, and that is all I can promise. I think it will be a pretty large release with around 40 sets of envelopes. But last time I did a cash envelope sale, I think I sold out in 3 or 4 minutes. So I will definitely make sure to let you guys know in plenty of advanced warning when I will be launching these envelopes for sale. So hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on them. But just to clarify, I will be selling these types of envelopes that do not have the holes for these types of planner wallets. I think a lot more people use regular wallets, and I asked you guys over on my Instagram which one you wanted me to sell, and the results were overwhelming for just the plain envelopes that slip into a regular wallet, because I know a lot of you guys don't opt for this option. So that is what I'm going to be selling, but today I will be teaching you how to make the type with the holes. So keep an eye out for my future videos. I will definitely be making one that just basically says, you know, all about my cash envelope sales. And in that video, I will let you guys know the launch date and launch time for my Etsy shop where I'll be selling these. But it will probably be the end of March, middle to end of March is when I will be selling my envelopes. So this is actually one of the sets that I will be offering for sale. I'm going to make myself these envelopes. I just feel like I'm a little bit over all of the color. I just kind of want something a bit more neutral. So I'm excited to be making myself some new envelopes. That's like half the fun of getting yourself a new system, is making yourself some new envelopes. So I will be teaching you guys how to make these. So first things first, I am going to measure this envelope to determine what size I need to make the new envelopes. These are 6.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Okay, so a dollar bill itself is 2.5 inches wide. And as you can see, there's about an inch of space between the edge of the envelope and the dollar bill. So that does make it nice and roomy. Unfortunately, these sheets are 12 by 12. So if you make one envelope 6.5 inches wide, that's going to take 7 inches out of the 12 and leave you with 6 left over, which, you know, kind of, you basically have to throw away half of this sheet. So I'm kind of thinking about, I'm going to test out on a scrap piece of paper if I think making it 3 inches wide will be wide enough. Okay, so sorry for not being more prepared, but here is my little scrap piece of paper. I'm going to measure at 6 inches. And this is just the paper cutter that I got for Christmas. My mom got me one because I have been using hers up until this point. So I don't really know if it's like better or worse than the one that I have been using and have linked in the past, but this is what I'm going to use for right now. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this down and slide across. And so that just cuts our envelope or our piece of paper in half. And then I'm going to fold it in half from here. So just make it as straight of a fold as you can. And then I am going to measure 6.5 inches long. And of course, I'm using the blackest piece of scrap paper ever, so I can't really see. Oh, but luckily there's a white part of the pattern right there. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Make another cut, and I like to move this thing, whoops, out of the way. And you want to make sure your piece of paper is pressed firmly down on these little like guiders, so that way it'll be level. Okay, so then this will be our envelope. That just seems super thin. That would work just fine if it was the type of envelope where it opens at the top. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead with this width, and I am going to make them open on the side. So when they're in my planner, they'll open on this side. And I have noticed that it is just harder to get them in and out of this smaller top opening, but there's no way that even like if I had this in my planner opened on the side, that it would like the money would fall out. That's just never been an issue. But I do think it's a little bit too tight at 6.5 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and make it a full 7 inches. So that is just what I'm gonna go ahead with. So let's go ahead and get all of these set up. So what I like to do to make my process a little bit faster is line everything up so that I can just kind of make one set of marks. Okay, so that is what I mean, just kind of stagger it. But you also want to make sure your patterns are facing the right way that you want. And for these, I think that they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring out my little measuring device. And I'm going to mark these at 6 inches. And then I'm going to make the cuts. So I don't usually do more than one piece of paper at a time cutting, just because I've noticed it makes it less likely to be perfect. Okay, so then I have two that should be pretty much exactly the same size. So this will make 2 envelopes with 1 sheet. Okay, so once all of those are cut, I am just going to go ahead and fold them all in half. Hamburger style? No, hot dog style? I don't remember. But I'm just going to fold them this way. Oh, and just as a tip, so this paper is regular like cardstock scrapbook paper. If you can find thinner pattern paper, it does work better as far as getting really tight lamination seals on the edges. This stuff doesn't laminate quite as tightly. I kind of remedy the situation by really making this as thin of a fold as possible. And I also run it through the laminating machine a couple of times. So that's how I get around that, and they still look nice and function really great, but it just is a little bit easier if you have thinner paper. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera while I'm folding all of these, and I will turn it back on when I'm done. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes and I have these all folded, and so now I'm going to make the measurements and the cuts at the length that we talked about, which is 7 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this once more. And so I pay attention to things like this. So I don't know what the heck this little like issue is, but I want that to be on the side that we don't use. So I'm going to measure from the opposite side. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I kind of stagger the envelope so I can do 2 measurements at once. And I just measure those. And then, whoops, get that in there all nice and straight. And then I just go ahead and make the cut. So this is our little finished, well, all the cuts are made. So that is what that's what you'll end up with, and then this is what's left over. And for this, you could make tags, you can make bookmarks, whatever you want with this leftover paper. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mark and cut all of these over here. And once again, I will turn the camera back on when I'm done with that step. Okay, so I have all of my cut envelopes, and now is the part where you put them in your laminator sheets. So I use just the Amazon Basics laminating pouches. I do use the 3mm thickness, but I have seen some envelopes that use the 5, and it looks and feels really nice. So I just am going to use the 3 because I have the 3, but if I were to repurchase, I'd probably get the 5. My laminating machine can handle either thickness, so I would have rather done the 5, but it is what it is. So I can fit 3 envelopes per sheet, and we have 10 envelopes here. So we're going to have 1 sheet that kind of has to get cut up, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take these 4 and start kind of putting them together. So what I do is I just take the laminating sheet and I open it, and then I put 2 this way. I like to push them up against this top seam as tight as I can. And some people say like to keep track of which way you put the opening, but personally I can always tell which side is the open side after it's laminated even, so I don't really feel the need to do that. Plus, when I cut them all up after they've been laminated, I forget which way, you know, they were originally anyways, so it's just kind of an extra step that's not necessary. So, and then I make this one as straight as I can, but it's not too big of a deal. So I just am gonna go ahead and put all of these envelopes into these sheets, and then I will see you when that step is done. Okay, so now I have all of my envelopes in these sheets, and what I actually decided to do was space them out a little bit more because these ones are going to have the spare bit of room on this side for the hole punches. So I made sure to make this one, the opening side, pretty close to the edge, this one kind of off to the side a bit, and made sure that this one had plenty of room on this side for the holes. So this is the laminating machine that I use. It is just the Amazon Basics one. I've had this one in the description of all of my videos for quite some time. I think it was like $20 or so, maybe $25, and it has always worked great for me. So I am just going to run this one through first because it is the one that has the trimmed lamination or laminator sheets. So I'm just going to do that one first just because it's the odd man out. So I just feed it through. So I'm kind of glad that this happened because then I can show you guys what I do in this sort of situation because this does happen from time to time. So I'm just going to take my little cutter, kind of move these aside, move this a bit, and I'm just going to trim pretty close to this edge, about as close as I want it, and then I'm going to run it back through the laminator, but I'm going to put this side in first, and I'll also cut this side a bit. So sometimes it just gets caught on this little bit of like excess and kind of gets wrinkled, so it's a bummer, but we will make it through. Okay, so I have this one all trimmed up, and I'm just going to run it back through the laminator. And hopefully that'll kind of iron out this little messed up side. Okay, so it kind of fixed that little issue, so that makes me happy. Now I'm going to take my trimmer again and basically, so I don't know if you can see, but there's kind of a little bit of like a bubble where it doesn't quite adhere to the very edge, and we're gonna cut as close to that as physically possible. Like, so we want to actually break this seal only on this side because that is going to be the side that opens. Okay, so now we have an envelope that opens on the long side. And so that will hold a dollar bill just fine. Okay, so I just had a moment of panic because I thought maybe 7 inches was going to be too big or too long for this planner. So we will see. I'm going to go ahead and put the holes in it, and hopefully it's not obnoxious. Didn't think about that part, but I only want to make the holes. Okay, so I'm going to place the open side on the very edge of this little ruler. And as you can see, the paper stops right at about 3 inches. And I'm going to mark right at the 1.5 inch mark out from the paper. And I'm just going to trim the lamination sheet at that point. So you'll see that little mark. And I'm just going to go ahead and trim that. And then it'll be ready to add the holes. I'm also just going to trim the little bit of excess that we have at the top, or at the side, I guess. Okay, So this is what we have so far. I'm just gonna go and run it through the laminator one final time just to make those seams as tight as possible. Okay, so now that this has gone through the laminator, I think a total of 3 times now, it is pretty solid. Oh, I laminated my dollar too. That's cool. Or my $50 bill, obviously. So now we will go ahead and add the holes. And this thing is a lifesaver. It is by 52 Agenda or Paper 52, Studio 52, I don't remember. But it is just a 6-hole punch, and it has all sorts of different settings. For this planner, I put it on personal. That is the size of the holes that you would want for Kate Spade and for the Filofax. Okay, so now I'm just going to put in my envelope and hole punch it. So now is the moment of truth. Okay, perfect, they fit. So that is how I'm going to make all of my new envelopes for this planner. And you could always add little like flags up here to determine which is for which category, or you could add a label at the top. I haven't really decided what I'll do yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the rest of these envelopes and then I will show you the finished product. Okay, so it has been a couple of days, but whoops. Here is the finished product. I just have all of my envelopes here ready to be used, and I will probably end up adding a label, but I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to do these envelopes that fit into a little like binder style wallet, and if you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I will link my previous video on how I made just the regular envelopes in the description below if you want to check that one out. But thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!